Hi everyone, I'm Venkat. I'm leading marketing at SolidPro. I welcome you all for the inaugural session on financial crime complaints, which is organized by the SolidPro Group. This will be the first in a series of webinars which we have planned to organize, and many more in the coming months. One sec. We are kicking off this webinar by providing a broad overview of anti-money laundering activities and planning to bring more professionals to delve deeper into this topic. So please stay tuned, follow our LinkedIn page for updates on the upcoming sessions. Before we move on to the session, I would like to give a short intro about SolidPro Group. SolidPro is an upcoming engineering services company which is headquartered at Chennai. We have a dedicated office space, and also we have a product development, tear down, and a testing lab at CIC Vandalur, Chennai. So we also have representative offices in US as well as in UK. So to give a broad overview of what we do, we have three key verticals at SolidPro. One is our engineering services, where we support our clients in the areas of mechanical, electronics, digital transformation, and software. So we work across different industries like energy and utilities, structural engineering, process industries, industrial and consumer, as well as BFSI. On the second category which we work is product innovation, where we identify market needs and develop new products from the ground up for our clients. The third key areas in which we work is sustainability, where we help our clients to transition to net zero and also decarbonize their process and supply chains. Now coming to the session, one sec. Share my window. So this is a broad overview of today's webinar. The first will be the introduction session, which is happening right now. So after which we'll be having like 30 minutes on the AML part, and then we'll be having like 15 minutes of Q&A. You are welcome to ask questions as we move along the session. During the Q&A, we'll be answering all your the questions. And also, after the session, we'll be sending you a separate follow-up email for your feedback. So about Mr. Vignesh. So Mr. Vignesh is having over a decade of experience in anti-money laundering. He currently serves as a manager at Standard Chartered Bank, and he has been specializing in financial crime complaints, regulatory complaints, as well as operational risk management. He is CAMP certified and has a strong foundation in accounting and finance. So he's very passionate about protecting the financial system from illicit activities, and he has dedicated himself to promote a secure, transparent, and responsible banking practices. Over to you, Vignesh. Maybe you can take it from here.
Yep, thanks, Venkat. So I just take control. Okay. So once you allowed me to control these slides, then we could start this session. Okay. So hope I'm audible and visible, right?
Yes, Vignesh, you're loud and audible.
Good. Okay. So I have switched that take control. So have you got that request to your window? Yeah.
I'll just reshare it, Vignesh.
Yep, sure.
Could you just redo the request now?
Yeah, sure.
I don't think the request is coming through. Maybe I'll just move through the slides.
Yeah, sure, Venkat. Okay. Moving to the first slide, the previous slide, Venkat. So then we could move to this slide, the evolution of bank. So yeah. So thanks for the warm welcome and brief introduction, Venkat. Hi everyone. Good evening. Myself, Vignesh Ravi, a CAMS certified financial crime investigator. I'm just going to conduct this session. So before we dive into this session, I would like to disclose something, that is the contents of the slides and the presentation has been prepared by me from my own knowledge and the experience. I have prepared this, so which is not going to represent any organization that I'm just working for currently or in the future as well. So without delay, we could start this session. So through this session, you will have an idea of how the banks are evolved and who are the money launderers and what is money laundering and how the bank are fighting against financial crimes. So as Venkat said, we will have a Q&A session as well. So I'm very happy to take any questions if you may have. So moving to the next slide. Yeah. So in this slide, we are going to see the evolution of bank, how the banks are evolved. So in ancient time, as like today, the temples are the power centers to handle the people's and the merchants' money. So they have created the policy and procedures about the people's money. So the temple is the first and foremost bank in the ancient time. And then as time progressed, the early modern banking began. So which is mainly depends on the trade finances, bookkeeping practices, bank accounting practices. And at that time, they have created the bank notes and coins. And then between 1800 to 1900, there are a lot of industrial revolution is happening, and the bank provide capital to those industrial activities like railway roads, project, infrastructure, like etc., etc., etc. And we eventually arrived to the digital era of modern banking. In the past days, we have to go to the bank and stand in the queue and fill up the challan and have to do our financial transactions. But nowadays, there is no much human intervention is required for that. Even we are not seeing the fiat currencies in our hands sometimes. The fiat currency is changing its shape from fiat format to a digital format. So this is how the banks are evolved from the temple to a unseen currency. And moving to the next slide. Yeah. So even though we are living in a digital era, so we are having a lot of technologies and AI and etc., etc. But still, there is 1.4 billion adults are unbanked. It's quite surprising factor, right? Even for me as well, it is quite surprising. And moving to the next slide. Yeah. So in this slide, we are going to see the predicate offenses which are connected to the money laundering crimes. So before we dive into these, I would like to explain what is money laundering and who are the money launderers. The laundering, the term laundering, we all knew about that. If something is dirty, we need to clean that. That process is called as a laundering. So if the money laundering in the sense, the criminals wants to launder the dirty money to a clean money, so that process is called as a money laundering. So they are not able to use that money in the society just like that. So they need some washing machine such as bank to do that money laundering activities. So the people who are involved in that activity is called as a money launderers, and the people who against that system is called as a financial crime investigators. And due to the interest of the time, I would like to touch upon very few predicate offenses over here. The first one is corruption. So which is very familiar crime in our India. So there is no much explanation is required on that. And then moving to the next one, tax evasion. So avoiding the taxes, even in a new regime or old regime, a crime is a crime. And then moving to the next one, a human trafficking. There are countless women and children are exploited by the money launderers and human traffickers to do the illegal activities. and drugs trafficking. So there are a lot of drugs are trafficked around the world, marijuana, fentanyl. So these are the drugs are trafficked from the developing countries as well as the poor countries. And weapons trafficking. So how the weapons are trafficked from one country to another country, so that is called as weapons trafficking. So if you are interested in these weapons trafficking, there is a one movie which is available related to this weapons trafficking activity. The movie name is A Lot of War. So which highlights how the developed countries are encouraging developing countries and poor countries to engage in these activities. And the next one, cybercrime. So which is one of my favorite topic. Like, even though I'm not the trendy Zen 2K kids, but I'm just observing, there are various Ghibli style of images circulating in our social media. So we are pressurizing ChatGPT to produce more Ghibli style of images. So it is fantasy, right? So we are living in a fantasy world, but experts are so concerned about that Ghibli style of images. So behind the scenes, that innocent images could be used by the fraudsters to the illegal activities. So we are constantly under the cyber attack, sometimes knowingly, often unknowingly. So sharing our privacy data in the social media, in the cyber world, is injurious to our life. And terrorism and fraud, so which is so familiar crime in our India as well as our neighbor countries. So there is no much explanation is required on that as well. So without delay, we could move on to the next slide. Yeah. So in the previous slide, we have discussed about the money laundering crimes, and in this slide, we are going to now see about the money launderers. We are describing them as illicit actors. So there are various illicit actors involved in these activities. We could see them one by one. The first one is political exposed person. Few of the political exposed person is having the capability of misusing the system and exploiting the people's money. So if you are interested in these, I would like to recommend you to watch one another movie which is available in a Netflix, that titled as Man on the Run. So which speaks about the 1MDB scandal which is done by the former Prime Minister of Malaysian government. And there is one another movie which is closely related to that scandal, that is Wolf of the Wall Street. So most of us, we have watched that movie Wolf of the Wall Street, but we really don't know one of the producer for that movie is involved in that scandal, and he just earned that money and he's investing into that movie. So this is how the people's money is exploited by the political exposed people and their associates. Even in our India, there are a lot of productions companies are associated with the political parties and political people. And moving to the next one, gatekeepers. So even though they are not coming to the spotlight of the criminal activity, but they are also dangerous for the society. Like lawyers, accountants, and notaries, they are helping the individuals to hide the illegal funds or illegal origin funds. And human traffickers, tax evaders, we have discussed in the previous slides. And there is one more, another group is having the potential to exploit the system. They are called as a high net worth individuals. So we are live among with various high net worth individuals. They are really seeking to hide their illegal funds. So moving to the next slide. Yeah. So after they have earned the illegal money, they need to laundering. So in these three stages, they are starting to launder their money. So placement, layering, integration. So these are the stages. In the placement stage, where the money launderers introducing the huge amount of money into the financial system. And then in the layering stage, they have created a complex layers into the financial transaction. Like now, say for an example, I'm in India, I'm depositing a huge amount of money into my account, and I want to transfer into various terrorist people living in various countries. So I'm just splitting that into various small amounts and just transferring to the various people. So I'm just creating a complex layer in that. So that stage is called as a layering. And the integration, so which is in a final stage where the illegal funds is converted into a legal financial assets. So that stage is called as integration. Next slide, please. Yep. So as per the United Nations data, the estimate amount of the money laundered globally per year is 5% of the global GDP, which is 800 billion to 2 trillion current US dollars. So moving to the next slide. Yeah. So after they have earned the illegal money, there is various methods used by the money launderers. So that is shell company, a trade-based money laundering, money mules, real estate, and non-profit organization. So these are the ways used by the money launderers to do their money laundering activities. So we could see that one by one in a detailed manner. The first one is shell company. Yeah. So in this slide, we are going to see the characteristics of shell companies. So shell companies is not actually having a physical presence. So they are just registered in the paper and putting that into a shelf, and they are using that for the illegal financial purposes. So it is not having any business operations. That is not having any employees. They have just created a complex ownership structures, and they have created a nominee directors into that. So that is a one fantastic Netflix movie which is related to these shell companies. So that movie name is The Laundromat. So which is 90 minutes film only. So it speaks about the Panama paper scandal. It highlights how the two lawyers, Mossack and Finanska, have created 214,000 shell companies for the high net worth individuals to hide their illegal funds. Even in our India, there are a lot of cricketers and political exposed people and the cinema stars were involved in that scandal. So moving to the next slide. Yep. So in this slide, we are going to see the trade-based money laundering activities. So there are various categories into that. That is over-invoicing, under-invoicing, multiple invoicing, falsely described goods, phantom shipment. So we could see that one by one in a detailed manner. The first one is over-invoicing. I would like to explain this with an example. Just assume that I'm an exporter of apples to the foreign country. I'm exporting 1,000 apples, ₹1 per apple to the foreign country. So the actual shipment price is 1,000 rupees. But I'm just quoting that in my invoice as 2 per apple. So I'm just inflating or overstating the invoices and earning the illegal money in the trading way. And under invoicing, so which is so contrast to the over invoicing method. Let's consider the same example. So in this time, I'm just going to play a different role as an importer. I'm just importing 1,000 apples from the foreign country, ₹1 per apple, but I'm just entering that in my ledger as 3 per apple. So the excess ₹2 per apple is unaccounted. I'm just transferring those money from my country to another country as a legal trade income. And the third one is multiple invoicing. Yes, your assumption is right. I'm just creating a multiple invoices for the same shipment. So I'm just duplicating and doubling the invoices for the same goods and falsely described goods. So sometimes the launderers deliberately misrepresenting the value of the goods in a quantity or the quality manner. So just assume that I'm an exporter of a foreign country. I'm just exporting local Android phones to the foreign country, but I'm just entering in my ledger as Apple iPhones. So there are huge differences between these two, right? So I'm just earning that difference price as my legal income. And phantom shipment, so which is one of my interesting topic to speak. Like the launderers have created an illusion that is trading is happening between the two countries, but actually the container alone traveled from one country to another country without any goods. So that is why we are poetically calling that as a ghost shipment. So moving to the next slide. Yeah, so in this slide we are going to see the money mules activities. So sometimes the fraudsters misusing the victim's situation and doing the money laundering activities. So how the mules are carrying the luggages from one place to another place without their knowledge, as like that the money mules are carrying the illegal funds from one account to another account without their knowledge. So that is why they are called as a money mules. So the students, unemployed peoples, the old age people, so these are the victims for those fraudsters. There are various categories into that. We could see that one by one. The first one is unknowing money mules. I would like to explain this within a simple example. Just assume that I'm going to study on abroad, but I'm just struggling to manage my living expenses. A fraudster notices that and offers me a help. He just transferring a 50,000 GBP into my account and ask me to transfer a 40,000 GBP into another account and allows me to keep a 10,000 as a commission. So in this example, I really don't know from where the funds are originated and where it is reached. So I'm unknowingly doing this activity for some benefit. So that is why I'm just called as a unknowing money mules and witting money mules. So after some times, I'm suspecting that there is some unusual activities is happening by the way of using my account, but I'm reluctant to stop those activities. If my situation is never allowing me to stop those activities. So at that time, I'm knowingly doing that activity. So at that time, I'm just called as a witting money mules. And over the period of time, I'm so pro and I'm professionally doing that money mule activities. So at that time, I'm just called as a complicit money mules. And the last but not least is a synthetic money mules. So which is different from the previous 3 money mules activities. So in these activities, a fraudster using the fake identities without the victim's knowledge. Now, in the previous slide, I have explained there is no possibility for the cyber criminal using your images to create a fake passport, fake passbook to do the money laundering and illegal activities. So moving to the next slide. Yeah, so as per the National Crime Agency UK estimates that at least 10 billion of illicit funds is moved through the mule networks every year. And moving to the next slide. Yeah. So in this slide, we are going to see the real estate and money laundering. So the real estate is an attractive avenue for the launderers because of the large cash transactions involvement. So everyone knew that most of the real estate payments are happening portion of the amount in the banking channels and portion of the amount in the bulk cash manner. That bulk cash could be earned from the illegal activities and third party involvement. So sometimes in a real estate payments, the real owner's identity is hidden from their actual transaction. The third parties acted for on behalf of the original owners, which is mostly happening when the politically exposed people involving in the real estate payments. So we are poetically describing them as benamis and falsifying the real value of the property. Sometimes the real estate people falsifying the real value of the property in the document. So they are misentering the value much lower than the actual property value in the document. So this is how the real estate activities are exploited by the money launderers. And moving to the next slide. Yeah. So in this slide, we are going to see how the non-profit organization is misused by the money launderers and terrorist people. So most of us, we have spent a portion of money to the non-profit organization as a donation for the noble cause. But we really don't know whether that is actually used for the legal purpose. So most of the non-profit organization is operating for the humanitarian aid purpose. But there are illicit non-profit organization also exist in our real world. So that is used by the money launderers and terrorist people. So there are various categories into these as well. So we could see that. So the first one is commingling of illegal funds. So sometimes they are overstating the budget cost than the actual. But in the real world, they are only using a fraction of amount to the stated costs. And sometimes they are creating the false and fake donation invoices for commingling of illegal funds to mix with the legal funds. And next one is misused by the terrorist organizations. So sometimes the non-profit organization is helping the terrorist organization by the way of sending the funds for the humanitarian activities through the sanctioned countries and the high-risk countries. And the last one is using of multiple untraceable foreign bank accounts, which is a very common technique for the non-profit organization. So they are just creating a multiple untraceable foreign bank accounts to do their activities. So they are splitting the values of money, minimal values, and they are just transferring to a various unknown individuals in the various countries. So this is how the non-profit organizations are exploited by the money launderers and terrorist financiers. And moving to the next slide. Yeah. So far we have discussed about the activities of thieves and the money launderers, and in this slide we are going to see how the banks are protecting their system from the money launderers and the criminals. So the first one is KYC and due diligence. So without knowing the client's details, we are not allowed to onboarding them. So we have to know whether they are good habits or bad habits to our company. So for that, every bank should have the strong KYC policies. And after we onboarding the clients, we are allowing the clients to do the transaction in our systems. So for that, the financial system should have a robust transaction monitoring system to identify the potential transactions. If we identify any suspicious transaction or unusual transactions, we have to investigate that and report that into our regulators. And then, as like a KYC policies, we should have a strong sanctions policies as well. So we are not allowed to have the relationship with the sanctioned parties and sanctioned countries. And finally, we should have the collaborative relationship with the regulators to adhere the policy and procedures and controls. And moving to the next slide. Yeah. So if the bank fails to do the AML activities or KYC policies, or fail to having the sanctions policies, or not identifying the suspicious transaction, or reluctant to report that to regulators, there is serious consequences may follow. So like operational burden, increased cost, financial risk penalties, regulatory compliances. They need to invest in more in technologies and manpowers, and they will have a reputational impact. So these are the consequences may faced by the financial institution if they fail to do the money laundering AML policies or KYC policies. So moving to the last slide. So that's it. We just come to the end of this session. So thank you for bearing with me this much of time. So I'm very happy to take any questions if you may have.
People, if you have some questions, maybe you can drop them on the chat window so that our speaker will be able to answer those questions. Vignesh, can you just
I could see that question. So that's a great question, Ramesh. So for financial institution, there is a lot of triggers when the money mule potentially related to the money mule's activities. So the money mule activities majorly used by the individual's accounts. They are focusing the students, the old age people, and the unemployed people. So we have to know the source of funds and whether they have the capability of doing such transaction. So that is the trigger point to arrest that money mule activities. So if it is beyond their limit, so there is some suspicion is happening on that transaction. Hope I could answer that question. I have answered that question. Yeah. Guru have asked regarding non-profit organization, can the organization trace the origin of large donations? So which is really tough and really hard for the financial institution to trace all the large donations, but we have some kind of techniques to identify that. So we have to check whether that donation is sending to any high-risk countries or nearby the sanctioned countries. So these are the techniques. By the way of these techniques, we arrest that activities.
I think Hari has a question.
So regarding that AI involvement, so still that is testing phase all around the world. So but in developed countries and the sophisticated banks are introducing much technologies about the anti-money laundering and the KYC. Even I think if my memory is right, the Bank of America have introduced the AI into the KYC process. So it is going up, but my personal opinion is the humans are much smarter than the AI, because we could understand the logics behind the transaction much better than the AI. So that's my personal opinion about the AI, but it is on its way. So we are not able to stop that. So they are implementing every banks nowadays.
Thank you, Hari. Thanks for the question. Some people are typing. Maybe we'll just
Yep,
wait.
I could see that. I'm really happy to see those questions. I'm just waiting for that. I'm afraid that Hari, I'm not able to share any real case study from the it's conflicting my my profession. So I'm sorry to say that, but I could explain the recent trends are happening in all around the world. So there is a one recent trend is happening in the UK. So that is by the way of using the nail spa activities, there are a lot of human trafficking activities are happening. So they are victimizing the nail spa artists and nail spa people. They are forcing them to do the illegal jobs. So that's one of the trend. So and then we could see there are a lot of money laundering is happening in the real estate activities. So few countries allowing you to get the golden visa scheme. So if you are investing in that country, they are allowing to having a golden visa to you. So these is, by the way of using that, the launderers can misuse that opportunity and can invest their illegal money into that countries. So this is a one of trend. So now I could say this, but I'm afraid I'm not able to share the real life example. Nothing, no problem. Yeah, I'm just taking the question from Tiago. How money mules utilizing in India? So in our India, though, there are various scams involved in our real-time world. So by the way of the students and by the way of various scam, the pyramid scam and bouncy scam, there is possibilities for doing the money mule activities by the way of using that. Could you please share some advice on how to prevent myself from being a victim from the individual's point of view? For that, we have to be very cautious while we are sharing anything in a social media. Like Ghibli style of images. So we are so fantasy that is very trendy, right? So we are falling into that. So we should be think from the money anti-money laundering specialist perspective. So we have to approach that in a cautious way. So that is the only way to prevent ourselves from this cyber attack. Thanks for the detailed explanation and a great session. Would like to hear your thoughts on the cyber digital slavery and human trafficking based on a high risk jurisdiction. So it is we are not able to stop that digital slavery, cyber crimes at all, because we all are the puppets on these games, but we could prevent ourselves.
We still have like 4 more minutes in the session. So if you want to drop your questions, please do.
In Indian economy, the question from Kumaran, in the Indian economy nowadays, most of us use GPay and online payment, which will be a nominal amount. How we can differentiate the same with the money mule? So by the way of using the GPay and online payment, I think, which is slightly different from the money mule activities. That is coming under the smurfing and all. So anyway, in a recent updates from the Indian government, there is some restrictions and there is some stringent policies they are going to write up for that as well. So by the way of that, we could arrest that as well.
So we have like 1 more minute. So if you have any questions, please do drop on the chat window. Sure, then we'll wrap up the session. Vignesh, your closing thoughts on the session?
So I would like to convey my gratitude to SolidPro and Venkat for arranging this session and giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts with you. And hope this session will be really helpful to everyone. And if you are having any queries, there will be an option for connect with me in the LinkedIn. So I'm happy to take any questions at any time. Thanks, Venkat. Thank you.
Thank you, Vignesh. Thank you for being our guest speaker for this inaugural session. We value your the insight that you have brought to anti-money laundering, and we value the different methods in which money is being laundered around the world. Thank you for your insights, and thank you for everyone who has joined this call, taken the time to come and participate in this session and have some insightful questions for our speaker. We are going to continue doing this session going forward, and we are planning to do many more financial crime compliance sessions in the coming months, inviting different professionals and speakers on the event. So please follow us on our LinkedIn page. We'll keep you updated and posted about upcoming webinars. Thank you everyone. Thank you for your support.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thanks everyone.